In the Marilyn swim.
Hi, it's Lexi here from Cabana Productions. As you can see, I'm standing in front of the beautiful Brighton beach on this lovely sunny morning where the Marilyns will soon be having their swim. This swim is to raise funds for cancer research, and it has come a long way since their inauguration. They now have 88 participants this year. Now, let's watch the March of the Marilyns as they come down the street in this exciting event.
What's up?
Brothers and Marilyns, we!
Hi, Marilyn.
I was fascinated by the Marilyn's movement and wanted to know more about the story, so I sat down with Sarah Tinney, the creator of the event. And I'm sitting down with Sarah Tinney, who is the brainchild of the Marilyns. Thank you for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, how did the whole thing come about and why the Marilyn theme?
So when I
first found out that my mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2006, I was really shattered and didn't know what to do with all the grief that I was experiencing. I took a while with it and just felt sorry for myself. And then I decided that I needed to do something more with it and decided to start holding fundraisers in her honor. So I held big ball gown events here where we would have 200 people and festivals and classic cars all across the driveways and hundreds of spectators even coming from the streets, and all to raise money for Cancer Council, and sent her an invitation and let her know that I was trying to do what I could, I guess, from afar, because I just had a baby and I couldn't just rush home to be with her in America and Detroit. So I started running these events, and that started to make me feel a bit better. Even though I couldn't change her circumstances, I can change the circumstances of other people that are in her situation, and also I can change the circumstance surrounding how much we know about cancer and what the future of cancer research can look like. Even though I'm in Adelaide, I can still change that. So I guess it just gave me a feeling of control, and that feeling of control can sometimes be the thing that keeps you okay, just okay. So I then got quite addicted to that feeling of okay in the midst of everything that was happening to her. I could still do this thing, and this was my thing, and I got lots of other people involved, and lots of other people that felt the same way as me, and was able to draw them out of their grief that wasn't as productive and teach them the same thing that I'd learned, that grief into action is like the best antidepressant that you can find. It's wonderful. So I started experiencing so much relief from it that I experimented a bit with the different things that I could do, and it led into, in a very roundabout way, I went down to the surf club to run a Cancer Council evening there. I was doing another charity event there for them, but then I also, ran this charity Cancer Council thing at the end, and we worked together a bit and were able to get the contact details of the people that were in the crowds. And so I was there just looking about growing this festival that I'd created at Dunluce Castle here in Brighton. So that was my purpose of going there. But the universe had an entirely different plan for me, because Robin Parsons from the club, she actually approached me and said, really should be doing something together with your charity and with the surf club. And I said, what would that possibly be? I am no athlete. That's unrealistic. And she said, oh, well, do something iconic and American for your mom. And, and I said, like what? And she said, dress up like Marilyn Monroe. And for me, that really triggered a sign in my mind that my husband used to call my mom Marilyn, and he used to call my dad John Wayne. So to me, that was a sign. And I was like, interesting, I'm listening. And I said, but I don't swim. I'm from the Midwest. I'll drown. And she's like, well, I'm sure you'll be fine. We've got lots of surf lifesavers. There's plenty of water support. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really think that's going to cut it. And I said, can I use a floaty? And she said, we can probably get that over the line for you. And I said, okay, if I can do it with a floaty, I'm there. Handshake agreement. And then I started to really wonder, how's that going to feel just being one person walking down through Brighton as Marilyn Monroe? Everyone's going to be looking at my thighs, and those are going to be my thighs. And so I decided to create the Witness Protection Program. So it's the Marilyn Protection Program, and that is get 50 friends to do it with you, and nobody knows whose thighs are whose. And everybody's dressed the same. We're all in our uniform, and we're identical. We can fundraise even more money because there's more of us, all driven by the same passion and desire to change the face of, and I don't think this is unrealistic, and it's becoming more realistic all the time, but change the face of what cancer research can look like in South Australia, because we have the smarts, we need the money. And I'm no scientist, but I'm great at parties. So that's where I guess it started, and then it's just grown from there into more people that's really connected to their need to try to change something that seems too big to change. Because at the end of the day, we all are fed this wrong belief that one person cannot change anything, and it's completely untrue. Once you band together, you can really make a splash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
one person can change another person who can change
Yeah.
another person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also something that's very empowering for women, like you said, wearing the bathers and stuff like that, and showing their bodies when it's not something a lot of us are really comfortable with. But
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome.
I think the interesting thing about the whole Marilyn idea is that even though we started it to create this change within cancer research and support and prevention, it has turned into a literal developmental journey for each woman. And it is just what you said. You know, there's the white swimsuit, there's the deep water, there's the fear of asking people for money, being afraid to approach somebody and say, I'm doing this crazy thing. Hey, can you hit me with 20 bucks? People feel bad asking for money. You know, so for some people, that is the biggest barrier in all of this. They don't want to ask anybody for money. So there's also the parade, which isn't easy. They're parading and acting like a celebrity because you're being treated like you are Marilyn Monroe. People are waving at you. You know, we get the most demure women who are a bit shy and introvert, and you dress them up like Marilyn Monroe and you watch them come to life, and with this entirely different personality coming out in them, they're blowing kisses and they're confident, and I think it's really empowering, and it's very I think it leaves women feeling like, what else can I do? Because I just did all these crazy things and I'm still here and I'm okay. Not only am I okay, I feel great. And then, you know, what else can that lead to? And they often come back and do it again the next year, and then they bring a band of their friends, and that's how the whole thing, I guess, continues to breathe in and out. Is even if, you know, for different circumstances, some women might not do it the next year. We've got a whole bunch, probably 60% new people each year, and then some people come back the next year, and it's sort of like a club. Once you're a Marilyn, you're always a Marilyn. You can come to the events, you can join in on the different media opportunities and help us fill those media needs and for weather crosses, things like that. And we've got such a large scope of women in a pool of Marilyns, if you will, to choose from, that we are able to often, you know, if we're brought in to do like a supermarket opening or something, they're often astounded at the amount of numbers that I can get with 72 hours notice, you know, so it's good.
Yeah, I think that's really amazing. I also think the whole Marilyn theme is so fun and whimsical. I think that's why people get into it so much. It's just like, this is so cool. Yeah. Like just watching you parade down the road and stuff like that. It's really amazing. There's lots of material, I think, when you're talking about somebody who was larger than life like Marilyn, and most of us don't live larger than life, but when you don the wig and the red lippy and the winged eyeliner and the beauty spot, it gives you permission to live large as well. And it also gives, I think, everybody in the crowd, I mean, we get people that always come up and go, just thank you for putting a smile on my face. So it's uplifting. You can see that in the Marilyns themselves and the audience. Yeah. Like everyone's just enjoying themselves. It's really great to see. Yeah. It's got a great energy. Yeah. And it's only on its way up for sure. So how did you think this year's event went? Oh, the weather was absolutely optimal. We had great conditions in the sea. We've had some years that were like glass, like the first year, great, perfect, you know. And then the second year, some of those women that swam the first year were like, that was easy enough. Second year was a little harder, lots of waves, women being pushed under the jetty, a little bit scarier probably for everybody involved. And then we've had a mix of weather in between, but I have to say this year has been the perfect year with the climate. Lots of people out, biggest crowds on the jetty and on the shore that we've ever had. But the actual just experience that the women were able to have was pretty chill. You know, going around the jetty it's always hard work on the arms. As much as it looks like we could just be out there with a cocktail, it is work getting around, especially around the first part of the bend. But being supported by literally there was like 1,000 people. You look out and there's like 1,000 people looking at you. You keep paddling. It encourages you. Yeah. It looks like a lot of fun. I wanted to join you myself. Yeah, you make a great Marilyn. Thank you. So it's to raise funds for cancer research, and a lot of the Marilyns have their own experience with that, whether it's themselves or through a loved one. But anyone can get involved with this. Oh, absolutely. We've got we have some women who have had mastectomies, who I've got a seamstress who can actually make a specific suit to
depending on which side, if they've had only one breast removed, we can actually get a suit made to hold the prosthetic. So we've got that in the back pocket if we actually need to get somebody with additional suit help. But most of the suits that I get, we can work with the stock that I have. Every woman comes here and I suit them myself. And I guess that also gives me an opportunity to learn their story and to connect with them personally, because what I want to do is have an event that's not like a lot of the other events where you show up and you do a run and you never really meet anyone new or connect with the organizer or find out really the core passion at the base of why it all began. And when I've got them knocking on my door to come and collect their wig and suit, by the time they've left, we've often cried, we've definitely laughed, and we've absolutely connected, and I know why they're here. And sometimes that why is just because they love dressing up. It is. It's not, every now and then you get somebody's like, I'm like, so what's your cancer story? Do you have a story? I just like dressing up. And I'm like, that is brilliant, because I want to be inclusive to everyone. I don't want it just to be this sad thing that people join it just because they have cancer or their mother's had cancer or their sister or their nana. I want it to be, I just like dressing up. And, I also recognize, as most people do, that it could affect me in the future, and I don't want it to. And the way that the numbers are rising, it's quite startling. So, some people just join because it's, they're socially conscious. And I think that's as important as any reason to join. Yeah. But I think what's really cool about it is a lot of the people that are in it because of that cancer connection, and they've been touched by cancer in some way. With having all these people with such a change mindset that are willing to do this crazy thing for change because they want to see change, it really ends up being quite an amazing group of women in Adelaide. So you sort of meet the best of the best of humans, and that's the best part about it. If it were anything else, you take a cross section from anywhere else, you wouldn't have that same connection that we all have within this group. And it's not exclusive at all. It's completely inclusive. But all these women know that they can make a difference, and it's beautiful.
I think that's very inspiring, just for yourself
to
have that kind of feeling of power, but people watching as well to just be like, I can get into this too. Yeah,
and every little bit of money that's raised and every smile that's put on somebody's face is all very worthwhile. I mean, we've raised many smiles, much more than the money that we've raised. But we have raised, we'd be over $330,000 now, and that's no small chump change in Adelaide. For an organization or group of women to raise that kind of money without, I don't want to say it's no effort. It's definitely effort, but while basically just having fun. We do this just having fun. So, I mean, that's, it's having fun and raising funds.
Yeah, it's definitely a community event. But it's not just women. I saw men getting involved as well.
This is true. And, you never know what the face of it will be in the future. But we have one man who's Dave Matkovic, and he owns the Brighton Jetty Bakery, the family business on Jetty Road. And he, every year now for the last 5 years, because we're in our 5th year, he has come, and sometimes with his magical steed, which is his unicorn floaty. I think this year, though, he had a traditional ring. He fundraises at his shop. For many months, he always has this tin there fundraising. And I've photoshopped a little picture of him and his wife's faces on Marilyn Monroe. And the public are very generous. He raises a lot of money and a lot of awareness through his shop about the swim. So he's our honorary Marilyn. And he also supports a lot of our different events through baked goods, which is as good as any kind of support you can get, especially when it's great baked goods. And then this year we did have one other man. So a lady called Dawn Beeston from last year, she swam around the jetty, and she had to wear support hose on her legs because she has a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And she can faint and things from blood pressure drops, and she had all kinds of health issues, but she wanted to do this swim. And she did it. We did have her pulled around for most of it by the actual Surf Life Saving jet ski. but that's fine. She did the swim. You know, she got into that suit, she got into the water, and we made the modifications that we had to so that she too could be a part of it. And she had a great time and wanted to come back this year, but her health had been a bit trickier this year. So her husband put his hand up to swim on her behalf. And so during the parade, he pushed her as Marilyn in his Stars and Stripes swim dress down Jetty Road with their daughter placed on her lap. And she was Marilyn and he was Marilyn, a very muscular Marilyn with pecs. And he did the swim in her honor. And so he did it for her, which is great. So, you know, we are looking at, you know, if somebody can come to me with a great group of committed guys and they want to have a Marilyns group, we are open to that. So, you know, you never know where it's going to go next.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful story. So, other than the Brighton Jetty Classic, where else can we see the Marilyns?
Well, we've done lots of different things. We've done the Tour Down Under, Stage 1 at Prospect Street Party. So we led the ukulele ensemble for the Guinness Book of World Records attempt. That was 3 years ago now, I believe. And we have opened up the local shopping center for Foodland, so Brighton Central. We've done the grand opening there and done entertainment. We'll be doing that again next year as well. We'll be having a Marilyn event during their annual party. And we also have many other relationships with Toyota, Corns Toyota, and we've done the golf outing there. And they've raised, you know, they raise so much money for kids in need, so much money. In a day, they raise so much money. It's an amazing event to be a part of. So we actually ran hole 10 and had a great time with all the different dealerships and things that come in to that event and give really generously to all the kids' charities. So we don't mind getting involved in other, you know, we'll work with other charities as well. But you know, I did walk out of that event with a Marilyn or two under my wing that now has registered, so that's always good. I'm always on the lookout for a new Marilyn, and I've been known to pick them up even at supermarkets. Checkout girls, I'm like, what are you doing, you know, next weekend? So we also have done cinema nights. So we've gone and performed out in the sometimes possibly performed badly, who knows, at playing the ukulele and singing at Mount Barker Cinema. Wow. And various, I mean, the list goes on. We do lots of, I often have people say to us, you Marilyns are everywhere, which is entirely true. We've got Marilyns from Port Pirie, oh gosh, all the way down to Victor Harbor, and probably even a bit beyond. I mean, I've had my sister's flown over and she's become a Marilyn the first year in honor of our mom. Which was great. We've had, you know, Marilyns come from the UK and come over and join. So I always have women say to us, you know, why is this not in my country or in my town or my city? And, you know, the answer is, well, you know, help us open those doors. You know, let's figure it out, because I think this is something that could make a very big difference in the fundraising that cancer needs. And, you know, everything about cancer means it. The telephone support is a huge thing. You know, bringing people in from the country towns and to increase their survival.
So you're basically taking over the world one step at a time.
Yes, in stilettos.
Awesome. That's the way to do it. So where can people go to donate?
So if you go to themarylyns.org, that's our main website, and there's also the Facebook page, Marilyn Jetty Swim. So either of those, you can not only donate, but you can register, or you can contact us and let us know if you want one in your town, and if you've got some doors you can open for us to make it happen, and you know, see where it goes.
Excellent. What events coming up that people can come and see?
Well, there are a few things happening. We've got something happening with Westpac, but that's more of an internal Westpac fundraiser. We've done the Be Teen Cancer Walk as well, but that's just passed. But we'll be doing Westpac Cancer Days, and they've got a very high number of employees. So a lot of the people watching this might even work for Westpac, and they'll be seeing a lot of us, as I'm sure they already have at their sausage sizzles and bake sales, as well as in town hall. So we do lots of going out and doing, talking to people, you know, just telling them what we do and what the Cancer Council does, and spreading the the news that there is this really cool thing that you can do with your time instead of just feeling sad, you know. So, you know, things spring up, but probably the next thing that I know we've got on our plate, well, the next swim is the first Sunday in February of 2019. So that's happening, and we are looking at making that bigger and better, and, you know, more news on that to come. So, yeah. Lots of exciting things. The list is far too long. I can't even. Yeah.
Just go to the website.
Yeah, go to the website. We do try to keep that updated with all the up and coming things that we do. But we often do sneaky things too, where we'll appear and do flash mobs. So you'll have singing Marilyns or ukuleleing Marilyns, and, you know, we have a talent, some that are singers, and then we have some that are talented singers. So, and that would not be me. So, there's a lovely Marilyn that we have called Elle, and she does all of our proper singing, and yeah, she does it really well. We're often on the radio. We get her to sing on the radio, and yeah, lots of different opportunities come up.
That's so cool. So many exciting things happening.
Yeah, and we are literally just responding to the calls of, you know, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? And it just leads into the next deal and the next partnership and the next fundraiser, things like that. We just respond. We always say yes. We show up. You want us to come? We can come and make your fundraiser fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you very much for sitting down with the Cabana today, Sarah, and I wish you and the Marilyns all the luck in the world in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This has been a Cabana
Production.